Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Roll Stable Podcast. We've got a great show for you on tap. I'm very excited to start our interview. But before we get to that, let's take a look at what's happening around the Mules and Jennies. First off, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who came out to the Mules football scrimmage on Saturday morning and contributed to the food drive. We had a great turnout. We raised close to $100 and almost 200 pounds of food that we were able to donate to three just outstanding organizations, the Warrensburg Food Center, Manna Harvest, and ECHO, which is the Early Childhood Hunger Operation. So thanks again to everyone who came out and was able to support those organizations. It's been a long 8 months, but UCM games are finally going to be getting underway this weekend. Mules and Jennies basketball will be starting up with games before and after Thanksgiving. There is the likelihood of many schedule changes, and we've already had our first one as the Jennies season opener at Lincoln on Saturday has already been moved. That game will now be played in Jefferson City on December 12th. However, the Mules game is still on for this Saturday. That'll be their season opener. And then both the Mules and Jennies are still currently on schedule to host Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State next week. Please keep in mind this podcast is recorded on Tuesday to be posted on Friday before that Mules game, so there's still plenty of time and plenty of things that can change in the interim, but that is where things currently stand with the Mules and Jennies basketball schedule as of recording this. And speaking of Mules basketball, that leads us into today's guest from Hillsboro, Missouri. I got Mules forward Gavin Pinkley. Gavin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Can you believe it? We're finally going to play on Saturday. We got a game. I mean, that's tomorrow for those that are listening to this when it comes out.
All right. It's been a long journey. I'm definitely excited for to have a little bit of competition.
What's that going to feel like getting back onto the court?
It's going to feel good. You know, we've been battling back and forth at practice for quite some time now, so it's definitely going to feel good to play against somebody that's not wearing a Mules jersey.
And what can you tell me about practice these last couple of weeks and months, the kind of starts and stops, who's practicing today, who's not, who's out, dealing with COVID?
It's definitely been different. We've had an odd number of people who sometimes got to sit out due to COVID. Sometimes you got 5 people practicing. Sometimes you have a full team. So it's kind of back and forth, but you just have to adapt to it as much as you can as of now.
And what can you tell us about this Mule season? We got 15 players, 8 of them, that's more than half, have never stepped foot and played in a game for Mules basketball. What can you tell us about the state of the team?
All right, I mean, we got 2 freshmen who I think can help us quite a bit, and a lot of transfers, whether it's Division I transfers, JUCO transfers, whatever it may be. I mean, we got quite a bit of transfers I think will help us out a lot and definitely be exciting to see them on the court.
And you also have, speaking of newcomers, you have a new assistant coach, Coach Adam Short. What can you tell me about Coach Short? He just got on a couple of weeks ago, I think it was.
Right. Coach Short is definitely new to all of us, but he's been fitting in really well. I think he fits in well with the staff. He has a lot to bring to the table as far as his knowledge for the game, and I think he'll be a good fit for us.
How do you think that he fits in with our current crop coaches, Coach K and Coach Johnson?
I think he fits in well. I think he's a piece that we need. He's an energy guy, somebody who is going to push you to everything you can be, and I think that he's going to help us out quite a bit.
And there was actually a brief time where he was almost his first week, and he was the only coach that was able to practice with you guys. So that was kind of a unique situation for him, and probably for you guys as well. You're learning about this coach.
For sure. His first day, and he was the only one that was able to work us out. So we were able to bond with him pretty quickly.
What do you like about playing for these coaches, your current coaches? Coach K, he's been a winner everywhere he's gone to. Coach Johnson, he played at Florida State, so he kind of brings that big-time school D1 credibility.
I would say what I like playing most about them is they let you play how you play. They don't ask you to do anything that they don't think that you can do or that the player themselves doesn't think they can do. I mean, they have trust in every single player from top to bottom, and I think that shows on the court when it comes down to game time. I mean, that they trust us as players.
I want to talk a little bit more about the team. Like I said, we have 8 newcomers. Who's someone that Mules fans may not think about, and who's going to, surprise the fans this year? Maybe someone brand new, maybe someone who didn't get a lot of playing time last year. Who is someone that you've seen so far that's kind of stepping up?
I would definitely say that Cameron Hunter. He's a transfer from North Dakota State, and he's a point guard. He'll be very good for us on both sides of the ball. I think he brings a lot of energy. as well as we have a transfer from Campbell, Jakor Nelson. He's a real high-energy, athletic guy who I think will be able to bring a lot of energy to the crowd as far as the way he plays, things of that nature. And then as returners, I think that Corey Gilbert is somebody who was kind of under the radar last year that I think will be able to step up big time this year and be a quality player for us.
Speaking of Corey Gilbert, I was looking kind of at last year's stats, and there's no one else on this team that's played more minutes than you. This is really kind of your team now, and you're just a junior. You got a lot of seniors that have come in, but they're kind of transfers, only been here 1 or 2 years. What kind of leadership role have you taken on?
I would say definitely a leadership role where I have to show everybody kind of the ropes of how the coaches like things done here. But at the same time, with all the returners who are older, I don't think that much leadership overstepping them needs to be done. I mean, they're all seniors. They know how to play basketball, and they're adapting pretty well, I would say, to what the coaches need. And as far as leading, I mean, we have a lot of people on this team who can be leaders. So I don't think you could necessarily say that it's anyone's team. I think that everybody has someone who looks up to them, I would say, or follows them.
Yeah, and while you're not the longest tenured Mule, as Dawson Jones was here a year before you, you're one of only, I think, 3 or 4 that have been with the program, going into your 3rd year now. What are some of the challenges maybe of having such a new team?
I would just say that a lot of the new guys haven't played in this conference before. I mean, they don't know what it's like. I mean, it's a tough conference to play in from top to bottom. I mean, you don't really there's not an easy game. So, I mean, I think once we get a couple of games in on the court, I mean, obviously it shouldn't take a couple of games, but I think that we'll click together pretty well, and that challenge won't be much of a challenge.
Yeah, and I think I've heard that from not only Mules players, but players from all over the conference. They bring in these kind of D1 transfers, and maybe they're thinking, I'm from Division I. I'm going down to Division II. I'm going to just run this league. I'm going to be an all-conference player, an All-American. It very rarely works out that way.
Right. I don't think we have any of those type of guys that have transferred. Everybody that's transferred they're pretty good guys, and they're all, I would say, pretty humble.
So, in reality, you're really only starting about maybe 2 or 3 weeks later than you would for a typical season. Last year I think was the first weekend in November, so we're about in that 14 to 20-day range behind where we normally are. So it's really not that different for Mules basketball, but will it feel much different for you?
I don't think it'll feel much different just because we had to start practices a little later. So I guess essentially it'd be the same as far as timing, but I don't think it should be any different. I've been waiting for the first game for a while now, so I probably wish it wasn't different. But
What's one thing you're looking forward to most about getting onto the court?
Just being able to play against somebody that's not in a Mules jersey, just being able to play all 15 of us together against somebody else, and I think we could be something special this year.
And as of now, we have almost a full squad ready to go. I think I saw some practice yesterday. It looked like most of our guys are out there.
Yep.
As far as we're pretty much ready to roll for Saturday.
We should be all good to go, I
Awesome.
would think.
That's great to hear. I want to talk a little bit about maybe your freshman year. Was there anyone when you came in that you kind of latched onto that kind of took you under their wing?
Yeah, I would definitely say pretty quickly I kind of got, I wouldn't say stuck with, but given to Jacob Lawrence. He was kind of the guy that I was always with, whether it was in the summer staying with them or even during the school year. If he was going to the gym, I was going with them. Whatever he was learning, I was learning too. So I think he was a good role model for me my freshman year.
He was a senior your freshman year, is that right?
Right.
Okay.
And but I definitely think that he was a good role model for me, and I don't know anybody else who could have shown me like the way that Mules basketball is other than him.
And he's playing overseas now.
Yep, he is. He actually just started playing with the new team this year, I think in Portugal maybe,
okay.
And I think he's been pretty successful over there, so that's good.
Is that something that you've thought about?
I have. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do yet, whether it's playing after college or not, but that's definitely something that I've thought about and taken a lot of consideration into.
And speaking of your future, you're going into this year thinking you're going to have 2 years of eligibility left.
Right.
And now it turns out you're going to have 3 because of COVID, and they're granting this extra year where you can play and still get another year. Have you thought about that at all, about how much longer you're going to be playing at UCM?
That's definitely something I could see myself taking advantage of, that extra year. I don't see a reason not to take advantage of that. Being able to play in a Mules jersey an extra year would be pretty great.
And you're a finance major, is that right?
Correct.
Do you have, what are you thinking about doing maybe after graduation, whether that's in 2, 3, or however 2.5 years?
As of now, I'm looking towards the investment banking side of things. That's all pretty interesting to me, so that's definitely something I want to pursue.
Mm-hmm. Before you got to UCM, you talking about Jacob Lowrance. Was he a big part of your kind of recruiting process as well?
I would say so. I mean, my high school has been coming to team camp here since I was a freshman. So I guess I've known of the coaches and known of the university for a while. So once I had an offer from here, it's kind of cool just because I had been coming here all of high school, and I would say that just the atmosphere, as far as like the community and how well they support the sports here at Central Missouri, was definitely something that was a deciding factor.
Yeah, I was a little curious how much you knew about UCM before you decided to come here. Hillsborough is about almost 4 hours away,
close to it,
a little bit south of the St. Louis area.
Yep.
So, but it sounds like you've been here before. You knew a whole lot about it before even signing here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we have been coming here all 4 years that I was in high school, so it's definitely a place that I always thought was cool. Being younger, being able to come play at a college for a couple days in the summer, and now that I'm here, I get to ref the team camp that I used to come to and stuff like that. So that's
all
pretty
coming
cool.
Full circle.
Right.
Were there other schools you were talking to in the recruiting process, or did you kind of know early on that UCM was where you wanted to be?
To be honest, I didn't know that UCM was the place I wanted to be. UCM was an early offer for me, and then after that was a lot of schools like Missouri State, Drake, Illinois State, North Dakota, a little bit bigger schools, but at the same time, I didn't want to go somewhere and just be a guy there. I wanted to go somewhere where I could make an impact and just enjoy myself, and I felt like that here was a place I could do that.
Yeah, I mean, your freshman year, I'm looking at your stats now. You played in every game, started a handful of them, and then just right into your sophomore year, then you're starting every game. So talk about making an impact right away. You're playing close to 15 minutes a game as a freshman. Maybe not something you could do with those mid-major D1s.
Right, definitely. Going to a bigger school, you might have to think about redshirting or something of that nature, and I didn't necessarily want to do that. Not that I was totally out of the equation, but coming here and being able to just get on the court as quick as I could and being able to make an impact, like you said, and just do that was something that I really wanted to do.
I think your very first game here, I think it was against Harding. You had a double-double, 10 points and 10 rebounds.
Yeah.
That had to be pretty exciting.
That was exciting. That definitely a memory that I'll never forget.
In high school, were you all basketball? Did you play any other sports, maybe even before high school, growing up as a kid?
Up until high school, I played baseball as well as basketball, but once I got to high school, I kind of stopped playing baseball. That way I could focus on basketball year-round and travel and stuff like that.
Who or what kind of got you into basketball?
I would say my whole family. My whole family's big basketball fans, so I've been playing basketball as long as I can remember, pretty much. I mean, from YMCA basketball to all the way up to traveling across the country pretty much and playing. So just big basketball family, I would say, that kind of guided me that way. And I wouldn't say that they pushed me to play basketball in any way. I've kind of fell in love with the game at a young age.
Do you have any siblings or other family members that played basketball or maybe even other sports kind of at the collegiate level?
Not at the collegiate level, but a lot of my family members played competitive sports growing up, whether it was traveling or high school or trying to go on to play college. But, yeah, I mean, I just have a lot of great influences around me as far as sports.
Do you have siblings?
I do.
Older,
I have a
younger?
younger brother who played multiple sports in high school.
Are we going to be seeing a younger Pinkley coming through here anytime soon?
I don't think so. Not through here.
All right, I'm going to assume that a lot of our listeners may not know a whole lot about Hillsborough, Missouri. I certainly didn't hear of it before you signed here, and I'm interested. What can you tell me about Hillsborough, Missouri?
As much as you know is probably as much as I could tell you. There's not much to it. It's a small town about 45 minutes south of St. Louis. really tight-knit community. So growing up playing basketball, I mean, you got basically the town at all the games. So it's pretty cool little atmosphere, I would say. But definitely a place that nobody really knows about, and that's okay. I mean, it's a small town, but I enjoy being from there and saying that I'm from there.
And you, I assume, were back for most of the spring and summer when school kind of got shut down, went to online only.
Right, yeah. Going back there, I was able to get in the gym. I have a pretty close relationship with my high school coach, and so I was able to get in the gym a lot there and spend a lot of time with family, which is good.
What are some things maybe you learned about yourself during quarantine when school was online only and you really couldn't get out much?
I would say something I learned is definitely not to take advantage of what you have. I mean, you never know when it's going to be taken away from you, like every athlete's been saying with all this stuff that's been going on. But I definitely realized that you just got to embrace the work and all that it takes to be a college athlete, and that's something that you should cherish for as long as you have it.
So what were some of the things you were doing over the course of the summer before UCM opened back up again?
Just trying to find a gym to get into, which was hard, and even not being able to do that, just going outside, going on runs. I did an internship this summer at Central Bank here in town, so okay. I was able to stay here a little bit and go home on the weekends, which was nice. But just being able to work out, keep my body in shape, but also being able to learn a little bit about something that I could see myself doing a little bit after college.
Did you pick up any new hobbies by chance? Do you have many hobbies outside of basketball?
I don't say I have many hobbies. I probably need to find a hobby. That way I could say I have one, but I don't think I have much. I'm pretty much basketball and school as of now.
Now, I remember we did an interview, I think, a week ago, and we were talking about how COVID has almost made the team closer, the Mules team and the Jennies team, because of how much time you're spending together, as a group. You're really not going out and doing anything outside of just what your team. So how much has that been an advantage for you with so many new transfers and freshmen and just newcomers to the team?
I say that's a huge advantage. I mean, like you said, you kind of got to stay with your group right now. So, I mean, we're not really hanging out with a bunch of people doing much besides with each other. So as much as we weren't able to practice and not be on the court together, I think that the bond that we built off the court will be able to translate to on the court pretty easily. Any
fun bonding stories from the summer or early fall? What are you guys kind of doing?
I wouldn't say any stories. I would say we, when the NBA was playing in the bubble, we kind of every night we were just hanging out, whether it was ordering pizza and wings and watching the game or just hanging out and watching. But we were always watching basketball together.
Who's your basketball team or player that you like following?
I'm a LeBron James fan.
Oh, so you were happy with how things turned out then?
I was pretty pleased.
It was the rest of the team, any other Laker fans or LeBron fans?
There's quite a few Laker fans, LeBron fans. There's also quite a few LeBron haters. So it makes for a good time.
Where do you stand on LeBron versus MJ?
I'm a youngin', so I'm going to go on the LeBron side, but I know that a lot of my older peers would say the MJ side, so it makes for good conversation.
I definitely think it's a lot closer than people, especially on the MJ side, like to admit that it is.
Right.
They're different players, and they do different things, and they're different eras, so it's hard to compare. But they're 1-2, I think.
I think you're spot on.
So you said you were working out a lot at home over the summer, whether it's getting to the gym, and, working on fitness. What are some things you think that you need to improve upon?
I would say every aspect of the game I need to get better at. I wouldn't say I'm great at or perfect at any of them. But something that I was focused on a lot this summer was my ball handling, being able to handle the ball and handle a little more pressure than last year. And then just quickness left to right, being able to guard multiple positions, I think is something that can benefit me on the court.
And were those things you were able to work at kind of on your own at home?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whether it was seeing a trainer to work on the lateral quickness stuff or just getting a ball or two and going outside in the driveway and doing some ball handling stuff, I think is two things that helped me quite a bit this summer.
So for this upcoming year, and I guess for the next 2-3 years, however much longer you're here, do you have any personal or team goals?
I mean, obviously team goal is to be win the MIAA championship, make it to the NCAA tournament, and as far along that tournament as possible. I mean, it'd be great to do that all 3 years that I'm here. That's definitely a goal and something I'm going to try my best to pursue. And I think that's not only a personal goal, but a team goal as well. I mean, I think we're all pretty bought into doing whatever it takes to make it that far and do those things.
Certainly get back into Kansas City in the MIAA tournament.
Right.
Now, your record in your first 2 years, I'm sure it hasn't been where you wanted it to be, but a closer look, you beat some really good teams. You beat Northwest. You beat Missouri Southern. They were 1-2 last year. There were so many close games. 1-2 possession games. Final 5 minutes, it's real tight. It's a 50-50 game. It's anybody's game. What are some of the things that you need to do, either yourself personally or as a team, to turn some of those close losses from the last 2 years into wins?
Right. I think the last couple of years we've just struggled a bit to finish out games, like you said, coming down to the last couple possessions, just being able to make the right plays in the end to be able to finish the game off. And I don't think that's something that we'll have a problem with this year. We have like I said earlier, we have a lot of leaders on this team, so I don't think that that's going to be a problem. I think we have a lot of people who can step up, whether it's a close game in the end or whether it's putting our foot on the pedal in the first half or something like that. I mean, I think that that this year our team will be able to finish out games and make those big plays.
Would you say that it's important to kind of get one of those out of the way early to kind of get the ball rolling and be like, all right, last year maybe that was a game that we lose in the last 2 minutes. Now we won that game. We know what that feels like, and we could do it again.
Right. We definitely want to make a statement these first couple of games. I mean, obviously with our record being the way it has been the last couple of years, a lot of people don't really see us as very high in the conference, which, I mean, we just plan on changing that mindset pretty much, as well as just our mindset and just being able to go out and play Mules basketball the way it's supposed to be done and coming out with the win.
Sure, and that maybe that's okay that the teams are kind of underestimating the Mules and overlooking you, maybe looking ahead to their next opponent. Like I said, you've been in close games. You beat some really good teams. There's talent there. So you played in every game in your first 2 years, a handful as a starter your freshman year, started just about every game last year. What was the biggest difference for you from playing as a freshman to playing as a sophomore?
Just not being a freshman anymore. The game slows down when you're the game speeds up when you're a freshman, slows down once you get out of that freshman year. I mean, just realizing that you're not the baby anymore. Like coaches aren't gonna pat you on the back or treat you any differently than anybody else. You just had to step up. I mean, I had freshman year when Jacob got hurt, I kind of had to come in and play minutes I didn't think that I'd necessarily get as a freshman or time that I would get. And then last year we had injuries, just kind of people playing out of position a little bit.
So you were able to see a big difference between your senior year at high school and freshman year at UCM, just in terms of like a style of play, pace of play?
Oh, definitely 100%. High school basketball is totally different than college basketball as far as physicality, no matter what level you're playing at in college. I mean, it's definitely different, just the speed of the game, how physical it is. Your IQ has to grow significantly. I think that's something that was really beneficial for me freshman year to sophomore year. I feel like my IQ for the game grew a lot, and that definitely was able to help me.
And what about from freshman year to present day, 2 years within the program? How much more do you know now than you did your first day 2 years ago?
Way more than I thought I could know. Yeah, being a junior, I mean, just playing here 2 years, I've learned a lot, and there's definitely things I still need to learn and get better at. But being able to play 2 years and have that under my belt going into my junior year, I think it's really beneficial for me as a player, as well as my teammates, just being able to know what a leader looks like and being able to provide that for them.
We talked a little bit about LeBron, a little bit about Cobb, Jacob Lowerhands.
Mm-hmm.
Are there some athletes, professional or teammates of yours that you have tried to kind of emulate a little bit, kind of how you play your game? It's hard to emulate LeBron.
It is. I would say the two people I looked up to or kind of tried to model my game after growing up would be Kevin Love and Kevin Durant, two people just taller, people or taller players that can shoot the three a little bit, which I kind of find myself doing quite a bit. And that's just two people who I felt like I was watching quite a bit growing up.
What do you take the most satisfaction out of personally? Whether maybe it's something you did on the court or something that the team did?
I would say I take the most satisfaction out of doing the small things on the court that get us wins, whether it's personally or a team, like you said. I mean, doing things as a team defensively, whether things aren't going well on offense or they are. I mean, defense, you don't need a ball to play defense. And that's something that if you can take pride in and do well, that when it's over, you feel pretty good about yourself doing that. And I think that's something this year that we'll be a lot better at than last year, just being able to take pride.
All right. We got Thanksgiving coming up next week. Gavin, what's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
That's my favorite.
With gravy?
Of course.
All right.
Of course.
Gavin, thanks again for coming on. Appreciate you taking the time to do this during your first game week. I'm going to give you the final word here. Anything you want to say?
Not really. Thanks for having me, and look forward to seeing everybody at our games.
Where can people follow you at?
Every platform, Gavin Pinkley 23.
There it is. Remember, Mules fans, UCM plays at Lincoln November 21st and then is home November 24th against Missouri Southern and November 28th against Pittsburgh State. Please continue to monitor UCMathletics.com and the MIAA for up-to-date information regarding fan policy at both home and away contests. You can now listen to this episode and all episodes of the Roll Stable podcast online at UCMathletics.com, the brand new mobile app, and on Spotify. All episodes of the Roll Stable video podcast are available as well on the UCM Athletics YouTube page. Gavin, thanks again for coming on. For Gavin Pinkley, producer-engineer Tony Manzo, I'm Joe Hoffman. Thanks for listening.